hey, maybe we don't suck at rigging after all. Let's jump back into our file and talk about some additional things. Yep, I think I still suck at Photoshop. Okay, so when we left the episode, hopefully everything's recording properly now. The previous one, there's still information for you, but it's a little crappy how everything got deleted, especially the mouse cursor and stuff. That's painful. So try to just follow along, listen to the words, and I don't know. Don't worry about it. So on here, I'm really happy with how this turned out, but one thing that we'd like to do is have some embedded controls in here so we don't have to go and fiddle around with our layers down here so much. And for that, I am gonna say that I want to incorporate the eye blinking, and then I also want to make an eye controller that's detached from the face so we can have her look around a little bit easier, and then put a ponytail expression on there just to show the usefulness of adding some simple sliders to your effect. Let me get rid of this. Alright, so inside of here we have this goal head that will work just fine for what we're going to do. And we are going to come in here under expression controls. There's a thing called slider, point, layer, all the stuff that some of these things are made out of, these effects. And I'm going to use some sliders. So I want to have one for eye blinking, ponytail rotation, and I think we'll just do those two for now and then build up off of that hopefully later. I didn't have time to look up any indexing for swapping the hands out, but it's not too hard to swap them out by ending a layer. We'll look at this hand, and then when the time gets through, you can see that once it gets here, it pops over. And I think that's okay doing it because we're not going to have that many hand position changes for this little project. Okay, so first of all, I want to go back to here, and we're going to make an eye controller first to have her look at it and move around. And to use that, we're going to use this null for Duik. And now this is one thing that's weird. Nulls are created as solids, but if you bring them back into the comp, it centers their position and makes them not see-through. So I'm going to delete that. I'm going to grab our one that we put down here, the extra one, and I'm going to use that. And you'll see that, come on little guy, you can do it. Oh, is that the problem? Here we go. I don't know, it wasn't selecting there. So you can see that on this one, we get a nice little outline. We get the anchor point in the corner, which is, I like to have more of a direct, this is exactly where she's looking and not vaguely in the center, and this is a hazy target. So I'm going to put this here. What I'm going to actually do is take this pick whip, hold down shift, and snap it to the eyeball. And now this is linked to the eyeball, but I'm going to say none, and I just want to find the center of this, I think, if that makes sense. So she's always going to be looking here. Okay, and now I'm going to take right eye, left eyebrow, right eye worried, right eyebrow, right eye. And link all of these to this. But you know what? I don't want to link the eyebrows because that looks weird. And that's not realistic. And now that I'm thinking about this, I think I'll put the slider control for the eyes blinking on here. Okay. Okay. And now I think this might be a little bit weird because this is too close. So what I'm gonna do again is take these things and do none on them. Move this over to like more of a realistic, and I'm moving it straight across again. Like this is where she looks. I'm a little bit better with that. We could do like a point controller thing, but she can look beyond where her head is going to be looking. So like we want her to be able to look down. Is that right? I just blew my mind a little bit because these need to be linked to the head to rotate. Yeah, I think this is fine. This will be linked to the head controller, so I guess I'll just do it this way. The eyes will still be linked to left eye, right eye. This new thing, which we should rename right here. Okay. And I'm going to put this here. Is that right? Oh no, that's wrong. Okay. We need to link it to the head of the art. We had that problem on the last thing. Head here. Link this to the head on here. Okay, there we go. That's good. So for right eye, come in here. We're gonna put a thing called transform. Oh, if I can spell it right. Distort transform. That's great. And we want to turn off uniform scale. And now I don't want it. Well, what we're gonna do is like have her blink like this, and I don't quite want her blinking right in the middle of her eyeball. So this is gonna be like an art decision by me. So I'm gonna delete this. I'm gonna grab the other eyeball. Y. And then press Y for the pan behind tool, and then you can click on these anchor points. I think you just have to have one selected. But I want this to be like down in this 3/4 section. 3/4 of the way from the top to the bottom. Okay, and now let's try this. And it should absorb. No, maybe it doesn't. That's okay. That's just fine. Well, that's super annoying. I guess if we can put this point right there and then line it up sort of to how it was. Okay, so we have one of these set up, but what we want to do is hold down Alt and click on our height, and we'll down here you'll see that it exposed this parameter, and this is gonna be kind of clunky, but we'll click on here. And we'll hit this lock button so this doesn't go away. And I'm gonna select this. Bam. And so what happened is this is 0. So if I put this to 100, her eye will be open. And then if I put this to, like, we don't want it to be all the way closed, but 25 maybe. And that's like a big thing on time. What are you talking about? She's blinking very, very slowly, is what I'm saying. And this is kind of like a, not the best way to do it, but it's gonna work for what we need. Blink, blink. That's great. Okay, and what we can do is take this, copy this expression, and then come over to the right eyeball. You know what else we can do? Unlock this. Click on the right eye. Let's do this first. No, left eye. Where's the expression thing at? I always have problems when I screen record. I do not know why. Workspace? Okay, yeah, like it lost its whatever. Anyways, Control C, copy this. Put this over here. Now we just have to move this down. And now we can look around, and this will control the blinking of the eyes. And once we get this set up, we can kind of just copy and paste these keyframes. Maybe this can be 15. But then we can have her like boonk, 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 boonk. Look around a little bit, and everything should still be nice and rigged. So now we can control the eyes, sort of. I'm gonna ease this, toggle hold. I'm gonna make this, no, I'll just leave that there. Control C, Control V, Control V. And we have our little outside worker can blink. And this is like quick and dirty. It's not the best. When we could like dilate our pupils or do other artsy things if we decided like it. So let's explore adding this ponytail rotation thing. I'm going to delete that one. And this could almost become like an automatic spring thing if we wanted it to. It would make this run slower, or we could just rig it. So this is, I think we'll just do this super simplified. So what we want to do is I moved the anchor point already to like the rotating point of this to the point that it looks okay. I might move it a little bit more. Okay, and then what we want to affect is her rotation. So again, hold down Alt and click, and then we'll get this thing. But you know what I should have done is come up to this controller, click, lock this so it doesn't go away. Ponytail. Okay, now we got this, and you can just pick whip up to here. Boom, done. And now, when you have the head selected, I'm gonna unlock this. So if you have nothing selected, you should get, you know, whatever controllers are on the object. But if you select the head, which is what we're going to be animating like pretty much alone, you can adjust the little thing by itself, which can be pretty helpful if you just want to, you know, figure out this and then rotate her head up all on one layer. Phone is buzzing. So we'll have that, and we can do some interesting things beyond this now, where we could take the rotation of the neck. Well, I guess the head. Yeah, let's do this. So over here, and now at this frame, she's going to rotate her head. And like lean back. And one thing we can do is take this. Okay, so we can take this value and subtract it from this plus begin parentheses for cleaner whatever coding. Come up here and pick whip how much her head is rotating, and then end your parentheses. Oops, okay. So we might need to do plus a negative. There we go. So now like her hair, if you can see it, it's kind of like being affected by gravity-ish. Or whatever angle the head rotates, the hair is rotating the same angle the opposite way, so it always stays up and down, which is kind of realistic. It's kind of automated. It's a crap hack, and it's cheap, but it sort of works and might like fix some of our problems. And you can add the additional, rotation animation on here still. One thing that would be cool is if you could add a time delay, like base it off this rotation on the time delay. That's getting annoying. Base it off a time delay from the layer it's actually getting the information from. So like in 10 frames, it will, like that's when it finally gets to the resting point, but until then it just like waits 10 frames just so you get the automated secondary motion. So maybe instead of plus a minus, I can delete this out and it can just be minus. Yep. And you can do like this might be too much because it's exactly the same, but I think you could take this divided by 2. Divided by 5. And you can see how this becomes like 1/5 of the influence that it should have because it's dividing by 5. Just so it's not like so 100%. And it still moves a little bit. Maybe this could just be divided by 1.5. And it looks pretty natural to me. I'm going to put this behind the body in our layer stack. Okay. So it goes back there. And that's pretty cool. So this is extreme pose, but let's work on not this, but this again. Let's turn off the head. Blammo. And then let's like paint the neck. So I'm gonna move the microphone. Okay, that's good. Should still be able to hear me just fine. And we want to zoom in. Get this. Brush. What brush? We want to use the same brush that we've been using. Oops. That's the wrong layer. Neck. Here we go. We have preserve transparency. That's perfect. I guess we need more red. Okay. Now we'll file save, come back to After Effects, and we'll have the neck filled in. And I'm pretty darn good with all of this. It's blinking. Alright, so I'm happy with this. What we can do is start to clean up this composition now. Meaning like only have our controllers exposed so we can like just hide everything else. I think we have the eyes taken care of for the most part, unless we want to do like some individual control on it. I'll turn off right eye, I'll turn off left eye. I guess if we wanted, we could also add on like the eyebrow animations. But I think we should be pretty good. We can hide the ponytail because we're going to be controlling it with the head rotation thing. Or it's kind of already automatically animated very, very loosely. We have our eyebrows, we have our our mouth shapes. And the mouth shapes could be converted into like an animated shape layer if we wanted to. But I kind of just want to keep things minimal as they are. But that's like some very simple, quick stuff. What else do we want to do? I'm trying to think of an example. Oh, I think I have one. Let's undo our hiding of the ponytail and do something else with this. Okay, so we got our ponytail. Let's just focus on this ponytail for now. And let's say we want to just have some ambient movement, like winds blowing and her hair is just like, you know, moving a little bit. Oh, okay. This is silly because we've given the rotation value to this other controller object, this one. So we're gonna do this here, I guess. Is that what we want to do? Let's just get rid of that. So it's still rotating with the head. Or is it? Yeah, it's still rotating with the head. I'm gonna just keep it so it's always straight down. And again, we are going to try to keep this as simple as possible. I think what I'm gonna do is duplicate this thing again. Now, if I was super smart, I would make some artwork for this always. But I like to be able to animate my wind, and I do it really, really simply with one expression with a couple layers to it, and I'll show it to you right now. So I'm in the upper right, this is where the wind will be. We're gonna name this wind controller. Okay, so click on the ponytail. We'll do, and we want more sliders. Slider. And this is going to be wind amount. And actually the wind frequency, and this will make sense. So for now I'm just going to put some values in, 25 and 2, and for expression's sake I'm going to switch the order. But my dumb butt put that on the wrong thing. I'm going to put this on the wind over here. All right, on here, if we get this, and let's do, see, I'm getting a little bit scatterbrained because I do not have my normal way of doing this because this is linked. But let's try to put it on here. That does nothing. Plus, and I think we want something like math. Oh, actually, we might be able to just use a sine wave. That would probably be far too high, though. Like too much. I think what we want is absolute value, but I'm gonna just try it this way. So I'm gonna get a failure on the expression because I didn't finish it, but I want to lock this, which is our wind, and we're gonna say, oops. 1, 2. We're gonna use a wiggle. And then your first value is the frequency. So twice per second, it's gonna move 25 units of time and end it. Oh, no. Line 2. We might just need another one of these. Yeah. So we can see this is now like wiggling no matter what, even on the standstill. And we can unsolo this. And always, like, depending what it is, if you want some automatic movement, the wiggle option and doing something like this is very, very useful. So this, I'm just gonna say, is too much. And this twice per second is too much. Add a few more frames. But something like that looks kind of cool to me. The head looks weird because it's just, you know, it's very, very linear. But like we can use this wiggle to be our, like, you know, our holding pose, our eye blinks, and that will like be totally enough information to make it feel like it's alive. What we can do, let's just do this for showing you with our weird little hip thing. So we can take this little expression thing here, alt click again, do wiggle, parenthesis, frequency, comma, amount, and then end parentheses for the whole thing. And then we can like just automatically wiggle move the hips, which we might not even be able to see this value. Can we see it? Yeah, you can kind of see it like right here. It's moving a little bit. And so again, like adding, I'm gonna go extreme, adding a value. And like we can use that to simulate breathing or something if you wanted to. But now we have this, I don't want to say automated gyrating, but we have things that are automatically moving based on like one parameter. Let me render this. And since we have IK, it feels kind of alive. in a way, sort of. So maybe that's like too much, or maybe you want more. And that's like, I would say lazy and cheap, but for what we're doing, it might be really great just to have that like subtle bit of movement in there. And if you want to get rid of it, you can just like turn this to 0 and it won't move anymore. The hair won't move. None of that will happen anymore. But that's not terrible in my opinion, what we had. And then if you don't want this to move, you can just turn off these expressions. And she'll be locked in place and the hair will still move. That's probably a better way to activate things on and off. But this is like, I think the beginning of or the end of what I wanted to show you was just getting a little bit of expressions built in and usability so we can have her blink when we want to by using an outside expression, and just like an intro on how to link some things, how to do, automatic animations if it's based on rotations. I don't know where else that would come up, but for things that dangle, sometimes it's useful. It's not like realistic, there's no physics on it, but we could get that going as well. And we like painted the neck a little bit so it blended into the pink. I don't know, we did a couple little tweaks that made this a bit more refined of a rig, and I think we're good to start rigging the other characters or doing some animation tests. So until those videos are ready, I will see you later. And we'll just put this right. Not so bad, I don't think. I did a pretty good job for, pseudo professionals. Story of my life.